extension specialist, entomologist, so I look after insects.
My name's AJ Bussin. I'm in the Department of Horticulture at Tipi, Madison. I'm an extension vegetable and storage system specialist. I actually had the chance to meet Beth my first summer in Madison in 2002. I don't know if she recalls that. But I've had the wish to come out and see their farm since, and now we actually have the chance. I'm really excited about the tour today, and I appreciate both Beth and
I'm Erin Silva. I work with the Organic Education Research Programs at UW, and we've worked with several of you already on organic research for research projects. And I too thank Steve and Beth for letting us see their farm today and join the tour.
My name is Amanda Gevins. I'm an extension plant pathologist at UW in Madison in vegetables and potatoes. And thank you for hosting us this morning. Yeah. Okay, so these are extension folks. Then I'm curious where everybody else is coming from. So if you're farming currently, raise your hand. Okay. Good. If you're a UW student, raise your hand. We covered almost everybody, didn't we? Pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah.
just here for the drill.
Yeah.
A CSA promoter.
Oh, you are involved in the local foods movement. Raise your hands.
Yeah.
Come on. Put your hands. There we go.
All right. So as we walk around, we don't have a distinct theme for today. We're going to walk around, and then any questions, I'll talk, Beth will talk.
Yep.
But any questions you have, just shout them out. And it's a pretty good sized group, so you have to shout. And we'll answer them.
This is a great moment to visit because we've got crops that are finishing up, we've got crops that are just getting started. It's just, the fields are really filling up.
Yeah. We just plowed in our last cover crops in our earlier season and overwintering cover crops yesterday. So you won't see anything of that. And we're about ready to start planting a bit of summer crops. Some of our first fields were done, things like lettuce and spinach, and we've replanted them for vegetables. But now we're going to take some fields as they come out of production and start putting in cover crops like millet and sorghum Sudan. So we were able to not get so much rye and vetch in last fall because we're so wet in October. But with the early spring, we were able to plant many acres of oats and field peas and oats and chipping vetch, which did extremely well. It was really worth the effort, the extra effort. Anyway,
I'm going to fire off a question because this might be a good time. I was hoping to talk about the pending blight issue and last year's issue, and we have the experts here. We're kind of in a circle, and we're all going to be dealing with that real soon.
All right.
And I know you guys were squatted off last year.
Yeah, so why don't we get Amanda to tell us what's coming this year, and we'll talk about our experience because we did fight it off. And then I want to hear what happened on your farm. Okay, well, we need to do stuff. I'll project as well as I can. I'm sorry if I'm doing too much talking. So the status of lake blight in the nation right now and the region is as such. We've had several states in the northeastern U.S. report lake blight on tomatoes, and those states have included New York and Connecticut. New Jersey has had a fine now. As we get closer to Wisconsin, the closest reports are on Michigan. In the southern part of the state, we had a report on potato about 2 weeks ago. Just 5 days ago, we had a report on tomato in Indiana. As we move to the north, we've got finds of lake blight in potato in southeastern North Dakota, and then in southern Manitoba up in Canada. So it's around us. Certainly there are inoculum sources around the state of Wisconsin, but we also can't forget about the risk of sources of inoculum right here in our own state. We did have home gardens and several farms with lake blight last season in tomato and in some cases potato. And although it was managed quite well, and we see evidence of that this season and that we haven't seen lake blight in the state thus far, but there is still that risk that there are some overwintered inoculum. So the way we manage lake blight, we continue to manage lake blight this season, is to be aware of environmental conditions that favor disease, and certainly those conditions have been met. This morning, conditions aren't met. When you have a cloud cover, You have extended periods of leaf wetness. You have temperature ranges that fall within those that are optimum for the late blight pathogen. You can get disease if the inoculum, the pathogen is present. And certainly we have the hosts present. We have tomato plants, potato plants that are susceptible. And that is our disease triangle. We have to have the plant, the pathogen, the weather. And so with that said, we've got those two pieces in place, and it's kind of a, you know, I sort of see it as a waiting game, although I hate to say that. But we haven't seen it in the state thus far. And the best management is to apply protective fungicides. And for the organic crop, the best product is copper, those containing copper. And I know Beth and Steve, and speaking with you last season, certainly you had seen the benefits of copper application on your farm. And I know I remember you telling the story that to the row, you made an application, maybe there was one plant at the end, didn't get that plant covered, and that's where you found it. So certainly stories like that help to inform and educate the community at large. There are a number of products out there that are labeled for late blight control, but you want to choose those that are the most effective in preventing an initial infection and then preventing any additional infection that may come season long. And copper will do that for you. With that said, I'm happy to take questions at this time or as we're milling about the farm. Just catch me and ask me.
We've been trying to send out, as Amanda gets more information, send out to the MaxAct listserv where late blight's being found. There's also a really good resource and a vegetable update that not only includes updates on late blight but other diseases. And if you're interested in getting signed up for that, you can give us your email addresses. AJ sends that out weekly, and it's a really great resource to know what other people are seeing around us and know what diseases are present in the area. And it does include organic control as well.
It doesn't just contain disease information, but insect information, weed information, and any other production detail or comments that are pertinent to that week are included in that newsletter.
Yeah, our experience last year, we found in the first few days of August, we found a corner of one field with late blight. And it was a corner that hadn't been sprayed with copper just a few days before. It may have just been coincidence.
So we had done our first protective spray. In the past, we've been kind of unenthusiastic about spraying copper, and so we tend to start kind of late. So Steve put it on, the first spray went out the last week of July, and you know, the first time you make your mix and you've got your field dimensions and stuff, well, he ran out, you know. And the second time you have a full tank. And so it was the little corner that was unsprayed where it showed up first. It was just the first couple days of August. The good news is we finished our last tomato harvest October 9th, and then they passed it off, so we got our crop. It was kind of a struggle. So what we did was we had tomato fields to the west, to the east, and to the south. And it fortunately showed up first in the far east corner of the eastern field, which is a help. You know, the winds pretty much head that way, and so we think that was a help. We went out and roved pretty heavily. I think if we were going to do it again, I'd rove more heavily. We had killed like 1,000, no, 1,500.
Well, we killed about a third of an acre of plants.
Yeah.
And feeling bad about that, but it's the right thing to do.
The roguing, what the benefit that provides, you certainly can't fix an infected plant if it's severely infected. But the roguing helps in that, you know, that plant's going to die anyway, but while it's dying, it's continually producing more spores and it's creating more disease for the rest of your farm. So that roguing is a piece of that management puzzle that worked well for them last season. And I rogued in a couple different ways. We had the corner of the field where the disease was clearly getting established. We killed all those plants. If we were going to do it again, I would kill a swath around there because 5 days later, more disease showed up. It was already beginning. You know, the infections had already occurred, they just hadn't manifested themselves. So I would kill a bigger swath. And we'll come back to that. Well, do you have a recommendation how big a swath you should kill? I don't have a recommendation for that because the likelihood of the plants, the number of plants being infected around an infected plant, it's very high because with aerial dispersal and aerial movement of late blight, for the most part, you're getting a uniform infection field-wide. So you may just see it in one corner first, but really everything's been inoculated. So when you're talking about